Welcome to I'm Your Target Demographic, and today we're discussing the World Cup. What it is, statistics on who's won the most, and some cool trivia and facts. The World Cup is a soccer or football tournament that connects to the International Football Association, or abbreviated from its French roots to FIFA. This tournament has taken place every 4 years since the first tournament in 1930, though it did skip in 1942 and 1946 due to the Second World War. Now, at this point in history, football was included in the Olympic Games, but was specifically targeted towards amateur players, so FIFA aimed to create a much more competitive, global competition, now called the World Cup. Recently, this tournament has been 32 teams out of hundreds of teams trying to qualify from around the world. In 2026, the World Cup will expand to a tournament of 48 teams to allow for more variety and opportunities for smaller countries to have a chance. How do these teams qualify for the big tournament? Each continental zone coordinates their qualifiers, which could take up to 3 years before the next World Cup. The final 32 teams then enter the tournament, which has 2 phases. These 32 teams are placed in groups, which is a group of 4 teams who all play each other first. If I'm Brazil, I'll play the other 3 teams in my group and I get points based on whether I win that match, lose that match, or if it comes to a draw. The top 2 from each group move on while the bottom 2 go home. These groupings can be super important. There's usually one group that has 4 incredible teams, called by fans and commenters the Group of Death. This means that a team might lose here because their group is so strong, while another team might win a top 2 spot in their group because their group is so weak. The top 2 of each group then make it to the knockout round, where you play a team once, and one loss will send you home. The number 1 from each group plays the number 2 from another group, so there's a major impact on whether you're placed as number 1 or number 2 as you enter the knockout stage. This tournament then narrows down to a major finals match to determine the champion. As of right now, in 2018, before the finals of this year's tournament, Brazil is the most successful country with 5 wins. They're also the only country to have participated in every World Cup so far. They have many stellar players across their history, including Ronaldo with 15 goals scored total, and Pele with 12 scores during their time competing in World Cups. Germany and Italy both follow with 4 wins. Only 8 teams have ever won a World Cup, so most countries have never won, including the United States and Mexico. Now, it's impossible to talk about the World Cup without talking about the fan base for such an event. For most of the World Cup is the most prominent and most important sporting event for their country, even above the Olympics. And regardless where in the world it's hosted, many countries bring thousands of spectators to the host country to watch, which means the country hosting benefits from a massive influx of consumers for this month-long tournament. Let's talk about hosting for a moment. Like other international competitions, countries bid to host the World Cup, with a proposal validating how they're able to hold all of the matches and what sort of infrastructure they have in place, or are willing to build. In 2022, the games will be in Qatar, followed by 2026 in North America, a coalition between Canada, the United States, and Mexico, so competition-sized fields were located all throughout these countries for potential use. However, some countries have to build these fields, such as Brazil, who spent almost $4 billion to renovate and build stadiums. They had 12 stadiums total, most of which now sit in disrepair or are not being used. There were massive protests throughout Brazil caused by this spending. The country spent almost $13 billion total, almost all of it public money, while FIFA made a profit from advertising, ticket sales, and sponsorships. The latest World Cup in Russia cost the country over $14 billion, now becoming the most expensive World Cup in history, mostly going towards transportation, including airports and buses, and hotels to accommodate the massive amount of spectators at the 12 stadiums. Are you a fan of the World Cup? What country are you from, and is the tournament important to you? Let me know in the comments, and hopefully you found this interesting.